All right, everyone. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine, and thank you for joining me on today's special edition live stream for a little look at what is new in video and audio, and specifically some updates that you'll be able to access right now today in Premiere, as well as some things coming to future versions of After Effects, and a couple of beta features that you're also going to be able to access in Adobe Premiere Rush. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about beta as we get into it, but we've got about 5 things to show for you today. And as we just saw with Terry and Paul, not a lot of time to do it all in. We've got Howard Pinsky coming up next to talk about Adobe XD. So if you haven't already noticed inside of Creative Cloud, that's right, everything's updated today. So lots of downloading, lots of updating, and we're really excited to get these new features and things into your hands. So as always, we're coming to you live on Adobe Live. That is where the chat is happening, behance.net/Adobe Live. So be sure if you want to ask some questions and interact over the next 25 minutes or so, that is the chat that I'm reading. So as always, it's great to see everyone. Hello, Andrew, Steve, Darius, Andreas, Beck T, my good friend Kyle T. Webster, and fellow team member. Lovely to see you. All right, Cal, Dr. Jacqueline Hyde, what is up, Howard, and Rufus? Thank you again, Paul and Terry, Melissa, Zorro, Donon. Oh, such a wonderful Valentine, wonderful international audience as always. Great to see you. All right, let's go ahead and get right started. And this is really, especially for me as someone who works a lot in audio, one of the most exciting additions to Premiere Pro available today, and it is the inclusion of audio as part of Adobe Stock. So yes, you now have access to thousands and thousands of tracks. We have licensed them via Epidemic, along with one other additional partner now, and you can access all of this through the Essential Sound panel in Premiere Pro. So now Adobe Stock, again, just broadening the offering. You knew about images, you knew about vectors, you knew about video and motion graphics templates. We've now added audio to the fold. So wonderful, and of course all of this can happen right inside the application. So you can see here up at the top I've got my Essential Sound panel open. You'll have your edit section here where you would do your traditional Essential Sound work, but now you'll notice under a Browse tab, Adobe Stock, where you can access all of this audio. So here I have an edit. This is something I've shown on screen before. This is a little trailer for a mock sort of TV show that I'm trying to get a friend of mine to do. And we wanted to find some additional music for this. And of course, it doesn't matter what kind of videos you produce. Everybody likes to augment their videos with music, and whether they're going to YouTube or Vimeo or anywhere, it's always key to find something, one, that works, and two, that you can actually license and access without getting flagged when you publish them to your social networks. And that, of course, will be handled directly all here through Adobe Stock. So let's take a look and just really quickly listen. We wanted something kind of epic for this. Again, this is like an adventure camp TV show. I'll let you hear a few seconds of my original score, and then I'm going to show you how you can search via Adobe Stock to find exactly what you want. So let me go ahead and wind this back and just play a couple seconds of this for you. Again, it's kind of up-tempo and epic sounding. Here we go. Okay, so again, I play that for you. That's my composition to give you an idea of what the director might want, what the person that you're working with, what your client might want. We want something epic and big drums and vocals and oohs and ahs and okay, cool, epic. It's a very common way to search for content. So let's go over to our Essential Sound panel in Adobe Stock. And right away, you're going to notice that we have 3 particular search category here: moods, genres, and then some additional filters. Now under moods, this is where you're going to find things like epic, emotional, dreamy, dynamic, happy, inspiring, mysterious, and the list goes on. So let's go ahead and choose epic here. And right when I do that, you're going to see that it's going to start to refine your results. Now we're going to scroll down even further and go over to the genre here. Now again, I'm not going to change the genre, but this is where you can select things like acoustic style music, background, blues, brass, classical. And as you twirl these down, you'll see that you can even dive down deeper into different levels of classical. Are you talking about Baroque or chamber music or medieval or modern classical or opera? So all of those things are available to you here, all the various categorizations. Again, talking about jazz, acid jazz, bebop, fusion, big band, modern jazz, ragtime. Really great offerings in here. Now, we're not going to change any of the genres for right now. We're going to keep it on epic. But one thing that I think is really useful is the ability to filter through tempo. So again, as a composer myself, when I'm talking about I want an epic dynamic soundtrack for something like this, for like a TV trailer, I already know the BPM that I want to be working in. And you'll notice that you can now selectively filter the tempos of the tracks in the epic style that it displays. So I want something approximately 145 beats per minute. So let's go ahead and adjust our tempo slider here. We can do a minimum and a maximum. Let's do a minimum of 135 and a maximum of 155. And this is really going to kind of narrow down, again, that kind of epic, big, kind of just, excitable kind of music that we're looking for. Okay. And then you can see here that you have options here to show stuff with vocals or without vocals. Well, maybe we'll do let's just leave all for right now. And then you can also see we can showcase the different partners. So we're getting our content here from Epidemic Sound and from Jamendo. All right, so let's just leave both of them open. And right away, you're going to see it delivers approximately 487 results, all in these various BPMs here. Now, again, if I change something else, let's do no vocals here. It's now going to, again, reconfigure and show us some slightly different things. We're just going to go back to all here. All right, now you will notice at the bottom of the window here, we have something called Timeline Sync. So this is super cool. So what this will do is this will allow you to play your audio in the context of your video, right where your cursor is. So there may be a particular scene that you're trying to audition this video against. You can use it that way. So let's just start playing through some of these. So here's this first one, intro jingle at 140 beats per minute. Now this is only 15 seconds. This probably isn't more of what we want, but let's just kind of take a listen here. Oh, sorry, I got to mute mine first. That might help. Okay, that's fine. Again, this is where we might adjust duration. 15 seconds is too short. Let's go to Epic Fantasy Trailer. Let's go to this one, and we'll wind it back here. All right. Kind of dramatic. All right, that one's okay. How about Bad Omens? New Gorilla Tracks. Let's try this. Kind of cool. All right, how about Bent, Not Broken? All right. Frontline Tactics. Pretty cool. All right, let's try another one. Get Him. Ooh, kind of intense. All right, so let's say that we really like this one. Okay, so from the Essential Sound panel right here, I'm going to go ahead and click on our little ellipses here. And you'll see that first and foremost, you can see more from the artist that created this. You can go directly to Epidemic Sound, or you can begin to add this to a project, save it to a local folder, or save it to your library. So let's go ahead and add this to the project. Now, what's really cool about this is that, again, like most of the things that many of you experience with Adobe Stock, first we can test out that preview. So I'm just going to quickly open up my project panel here. All right. And go into our stock audio media, and there it is, Get Him. You can see it right there, and currently it's showing us that this is not yet licensed, okay? So we can take this track now, and I can drag it down right into our timeline, okay? So now we can actually play this track in context with the actual file. Look at that. So are you even noticing too? So this is 140 BPM. I cut this original at 145. Are you noticing that because the BPMs are about within five beats of each other, the cuts are actually happening at the right time too. Check it out. It's pretty sweet. Awesome. So if I like this now, and I want to use this track, if you're listening over headphones or nice clear speakers, or you might be thinking, it sounds a little swirly, swishy. Yeah, because this is a low bit rate preview. Just like with images, just like with other elements of Adobe Stock, you now have the ability to license this directly from within the timeline. Right here. You don't have to go anywhere to do anything. All right, so we're going to go ahead and license this. Let's go ahead and confirm it. It's telling me it's using one of my available credits. All right. Now, of course, the main question that many people will have is, all right, so when I publish this to YouTube, if that's where I want to go with this, am I going to be able to, and by the way, if you just noticed the audio file kind of blinked right there, it just downloaded the full resolution uncompressed WAV file and replaced it inside the timeline. So you don't even have to do any swapping of the media. I mean, we just make it easy for you. This little license code that you see here, if you've ever gotten flags on YouTube, now you shouldn't really encounter this, but in the event that you do, you'll notice that sometimes you'll get flags. And a lot of times this is not a strike, we're just gonna run ads or something else. But in this case, you've now licensed this music. You should be able to use it and be able to monetize it. So if it gives you one of those alerts where it requires a license code, this is the very code that you can copy, paste, keep a log of, send to YouTube, and you're good to go. You shouldn't necessarily encounter this, but that's exactly what that is, all right? So this is available to you today, right now, in the version of Premiere Pro that you can download and update via Adobe Creative Cloud Desktop. Super cool. What are people saying in the chat? Yes, so cool. Nice way to try possibilities. All right, someone's excited for Adobe XD. Thank you. It's coming up, all right? 28 minutes. Okay, or 18 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to segue over to a beta feature. Now, you may be wondering, why are you talking about beta features? I'm not in the beta. Many of you may not be aware of the fact that back in April, we have now made beta versions of all of the video and audio applications available to everyone. And to access those, you simply need to go to your Creative Cloud desktop. So again, hold on, I'm just going to reset my interface here real quickly. And if we go up to our Creative Cloud desktop, here inside CC Desktop, you may have noticed a little beta app, a little beaker icon down here. And this is where now you have access to all of the betas here. Now again, I'm installed in some other beta programs, so forget Photoshop and Illustrator for the moment here. But Premiere Pro, Premiere Rush, After Effects, Media Encoder, Audition, Character Animator, Adobe Media Encoder, these are all available to you as users for beta. You don't have to do anything. It's just going to give you early access to features that we're working on. So for this, I'm going to showcase to you one in Premiere called Scene Edit Detection. And the whole purpose behind this, many of you have asked us about this in the past. I believe this was a feature request up on our user voice for quite some time. It's essentially the ability to find and edit inside of a flattened movie, right? So in the case of something like this, all right, so this is a piece of mine, a trailer from this travel video that I put together a couple of years ago called Jace's Places. I'm just gonna mute the sound here for a second. So this happens to be an ungraded version. It was an H.265 version, but you can see like it's not fully color corrected. So if I wanted to come in here and start color correcting and treating each of these individual pieces, all right, this would be a challenge. I'd have to come in and cut it all up manually and then treat each of these separate clips manually, all right? Well, I don't have to do that anymore. I can now use Scene Edit Detection to do that for me, to find those edit points, to find where the clip changes, and automatically place a marker or cut. Simply by right-clicking or control-clicking on my clip in the beta of Premiere Pro today, you'll now see something called Scene Edit Detection. Go ahead and open this up, and then it's going to pull up this little dialog here. So you'll see automatically detect hard cuts and flattened footage and apply these cuts back into your clip. Apply a cut at each detected cut point or create clip markers. So you have options here. So in this case, because I actually want to go in and color correct, I need all those clips separated. So I'm actually going to apply a cut. Notice it will also apply cuts to linked audio if necessary. I don't need it to cut up. There's only the musical soundtrack there, so I don't need to worry about that. And then you have a sensitivity threshold here. I'm just going to leave this at the default, okay? Click OK on that. Take a sip of my coffee. Just like that. Valentine, you miss my singing across a stadium-sized hall, but you do prefer this way of presenting. Thanks, I appreciate that. We'll get back to singing one of these days, hopefully. All right, so now if you're looking in the timeline, look at what it did. It just did all the work for me, okay? And if I just go ahead and start, of course I can play this, but now as I slide through each of the cuts, so I'm just using my shift down arrow, it has placed cuts at the beginning of each of those clips. So now I could go in here and manually correct and even out all of the color for these really quickly, really easily. Scene edit detection available in the beta today. Now, something else that my colleague Francis, you may recall Francis joined me on our NAB live stream back in April, something that a lot of people have been doing or requesting, right? As people are doing all this stuff from home, we're doing a lot of Zoom meetings. We're doing a lot of like video calls. And then someone will say, oh, I missed the call. Do you have an archive of it? Ah, we sure do. But maybe, that recording is an hour or whatever. And you're kind of thinking to yourself, oh man, it's going to take forever now. I've got to go through here and find all the different sections or sit through. Maybe I don't need to sit through everything. Maybe I just want to see the things that are relevant to me. Well, once again, this is really where scene edit detection adding markers becomes super cool. Because again, you can see I've already done it for you here just for the sake of time. Just to remind you once again, you have the option here to create clip markers. So what you may have noticed is I just opened up the markers panel. This is so cool. So notice down in the clip, it's placed markers at all of the different slide changes. Okay? So you can see here over on the left side inside of my markers panel, I can now see via time code as well all of the changing slides so that I can shuttle to the exact slide, the exact moment in time in this video and begin watching where I want. That may seem like a very sort of special first world kind of issue here, but yeah, it just makes it easier to watch archived slide-based presentations using scene edit detection. All right, kind of little fun thing there. It's something that we've seen requests for in the past. That's why I wanted to bring it up today. Okay, nice. Oh yes, there's I am so excited about this too, Nikisha. Very good to see you. All right, we've got a lot of stuff to show. We've got 8 more minutes, so we got to bounce over to After Effects. Okay, now what I'm going to show you here will be coming to the beta soon. This is not in the release version of After Effects today. It's not in the beta today. It is coming very soon. And what is it? It is a new version. It is what we are calling Rotobrush 2.0. So many of you will recall the Rotobrush tool in After Effects, been around for a very long time. It's an ideal way for you to effectively mask and separate foreground elements from the background to composite them into other things. So in this case, like we have this guy who's climbing on a wall. If we wanted to cut him out, again, we could manually draw a mask around him as he's moving through the scene, or we could use the Rotobrush. Now, the Rotobrush in the past was very powerful, but it was a bit slow, and that's because it was developed a long time ago, right? So it wasn't leveraging things like Adobe Sensei. It didn't have any kind of machine learning algorithms to help it propagate frames and really figure out the mask as things are moving over time. Well, with Rotobrush 2.0, that's exactly what we're doing now. We're leveraging Sensei. It's faster, it's more accurate, and it's going to be able to do things that you simply couldn't do with the previous version of Rotobrush. So the way it works, real quickly, I'm going to double click on this to bring us into the layer panel here. I'm going to take my Rotobrush tool, all right, and I'm simply going to draw a stroke on our character here, all right? I'm going to use the Option key to get rid of some areas that we don't need. Paint in some of the areas that we do. I suppose we want to give him arms. All right, so we'll give him this, eliminate this area here. All right, a little bit of refinement. Add back in his fingers, add back in his shoe. All right, and we've got, a little bit of a challenging background here because you've got these rocks that are similar colors, similarly styled, but that's okay. Now, again, in the previous version of Rotobrush, now what we would do is we would hit the space bar so that it finds all the additional frames. And it would do this very, very slowly. And to be honest, the accuracy was, you had to do a lot of manual tweaking. Now, I'm not sure that this is going to get everything, but I just want you to see, if you've ever used this before, watch what happens when I hit the space bar now. Check this out. All right. So already, look at this. Look at how it's masking frame by frame. If you've done it before, you know how much faster this is than it ever was. Now it looks like, all right, we might have to make a little tweak here on the top of his head. It's grabbing some of that stone right there because it can't quite tell that soft edge against his cap. That's okay. We can always fix that. But check it out. Check it out how it's doing. How it's, again, finding all of those frames and his hands as he moves up against the scene right here. We just did this in a matter of seconds, okay? Here's the mask, so you can really see it very cleanly, very nicely here. Something that really before was very painstaking and long, so much faster with a lot more accuracy, all right? Again, you can go back in and tweak individual frames. We could come back over to here and erase these, back up, repropagate frames. It will relearn and it will ignore that stone moving forward, all right? And just to kind of show you the kind of things that we're able to do with this, here's our guy taken out of the scene, just as you saw, now parented to like another video, and now we've kind of simulated him crawling up this basket, all right? And we did this in a fraction of the time that it took us to use Rotobrush before, all right? Super, super cool. Now, really, really quickly here, this is something which, again, now this is coming to a future beta very, very soon. One of the limitations that you had in the past was that Rotobrush, basically, it could only see, if you masked something, it could only see what was in front of you. So if you masked an object like this cat right here, all right? Whoops. If you masked our cat, what would happen is, as our cat sort of moved in front of this post right here, you would lose the mask. So here, I'm going to go back to our 1.0 version of Rotobrush. Notice that you have a version option here. So let's keep it on 1.0 and let's hit our spacebar. Now, that old version is going to be able to take advantage of the speed, but watch what happens. As it crosses the plane there, you don't see anything. And by the way, if I just go to fit here, what you'll also notice is, watch the mask. The mask kind of falls apart right away, all right? That's kind of what we experienced before. Let's go into the 2.0 version. Let's turn our mask back on. And now check this out. Now, it's not going to necessarily get everything right here, all right? I need to increase a particular value, and that's something here called our search radius. I'm going to increase this up to around 100%. And what this is going to allow me to do is continue to follow that masked region even after it disappears behind this post, all right? Let's go ahead and hit our space bar here. Of course, I had to use a cat with lots of fur, very challenging. Notice that right away, the mask is already better. We're maintaining all of the tail and the legs and the fur. Now he's hidden. All right, now wait a second. Hold on, there it comes. Yes, it's doing it. All right, it's not exactly perfect, okay? But look at our little smiley kitten right there. Hold on, it even knows. Look at that face. That's how happy this cat is, that it's now able to see behind objects in the way. And the option that's enabling it to do that is this search radius option right here, all right, increased from 30 to 99. This is something you will want to get your hands on very soon, coming soon to a future beta of After Effects. It's the new Rotobrush 2.0. All right, those blue eyes, yes. Okay, and last but not least, got a couple of things to show you here inside of Adobe Premiere Rush. Now, the first is a feature which is available in the beta of Premiere Rush today, and it is Auto-Reframe. You know this from Premiere Pro. So here's a shot of my son on his bicycle a little while ago, and I love this little video, and I wanted to share this vertically on social. But as you can see, the way I was capturing it, there's moments where he's off to the side. So if I simply, put this into a vertical aspect, I might miss the action, right? So I'd have to go in and manually reframe it to fit. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Coming to right now today in the version of Rush Beta, you'll be able to use Auto-Reframe. I'm going to click on Select Aspect Ratio, and let's go to Vertical. I'm going to come over to a new Effects panel up here. And this is where you'll now have access to your transitions, pan and zoom in a second, and Auto-Reframe. Let's go ahead and turn on Auto-Reframe, and you're going to see down below, it starts scanning the file. It tells you that we're now auto-reframing. Hit play, and just like that, we have now auto-reframed, and it keeps the action by following the motion, by following the faces, and keeping everything front and center. You'll also notice that we have this cool option here called Adjust Frame. So yes, if it misses the action, you have the ability here to tell it what that action is, and then it'll readjust and reframe your video content. You can do this clip by clip or on multiple clips. Super cool, super awesome. Auto-Reframe. So glad to be able to bring this to you, and that's available today in the Rush beta. So again, go to Creative Cloud Desktop, download the Rush beta, you'll have access to it. All right, last but not least, you saw it in the menu there, it's Pan and Zoom. This is also known as the Ken Burns effect, where we allow you to take still images and kind of pan through them and zoom in or out. Now, this is not available yet in the beta. It will be coming to the beta of Premiere Rush, but this is something that you've been asking for, and this is something you're now going to be able to use. So this is a little video that I was putting together of some of my travels to Alaska last year. Oh, sorry, I meant to turn that audio way down. And I want to, I added some images to this as well. All right, so I have a whole series of images, just still photos that I wanted to use to augment my video. And it wouldn't be nice if I could add some movement to all of these. Well, now you're going to have the ability to multi-select your images. Simply come over to the Effects panel, turn on Pan and Zoom, and just like that, it does its thing. So now when I play this back, you'll see that it will instantly begin doing that Ken Burns effect, panning and zooming, using a cool automated algorithm here to figure out what the action is. You're also going to have options in the future to also reframe and readjust the pan and the zoom in or out. But this is something that you will have access to very, very soon in a future beta version of Premiere Rush. So my friends, Pan and Zoom, Auto-Reframe and Rush, the new Rotobrush 2.0 coming soon to a beta version of After Effects, and of course, scene edit detection available in the beta of Premiere Pro today, and Adobe Stock Audio. Those are just some of the things. We've got Howard coming up next, so stick around. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.